The EmberBonded Volume 1, The Flames That Bind. Chapter 1, Embers of the Past. The rain fell in sheets over the broken walls of Neverwinter's outer slums, washing the soot from its stone streets into black rivulets. Amid the downpour, a small green figure hunched beneath an awning, hands raw from scrubbing floors all day. Jasper Wispweaver, the little green man of St. Kelda's orphanage, wasn't supposed to exist. That's what the caretakers always said. Humans don't come in green, Jasper. You're special, so you get special chores. Special, he'd learned, meant cleaning twice as hard and eating half as much. He could take the bruises, the jeers, the loneliness. What broke him was the silence that followed when he cried for help and no one came. Until she did. The first time Camilla Stormscale punched someone, it felt like lightning coursing through her veins. Her metallic blue scales caught the sun through the orphanage window that morning as she stepped between Jasper and 3 older boys. They'd cornered him again, this time over a stolen crust of bread. "Leave him alone," she'd said. Simple, final. The largest boy sneered. "Why defend that thing? He's not even." The rest of his words drowned in the crack of Camilla's fist connecting with his jaw. The fight didn't last long. It didn't need to. The bullies ran, and Jasper stood there, wide-eyed, blood dripping from his nose, awe in his gaze rather than fear. From that day on, they were inseparable. 2 outcasts bound not by blood, but by survival. Years passed, and the world grew harsher. The chores became harder, the beatings fewer, mostly because no one dared challenge Camilla anymore. But the hunger, the longing for something more, never faded. Then came the ring. Jasper found it while cleaning the attic. A small, dusty thing with a green crystal gleaming faintly from within. Curious, he turned it over and noticed a tiny latch. He pried it open. The air hummed. A flash of emerald light filled the attic. The smell of stone dust and perfume of the desert flooded the space as a massive figure emerged. Skin like burnished bronze, eyes shimmering like deep earth, adorned with golden chains that shimmered and vanished into mist. "Ah!" The being rumbled, stretching arms thick as pillars. "Free at last. Who is it that has broken my bonds?" Jasper stared, trembling. I didn't mean." The Dow's grin spread like cracking granite. "You have freed me, little green man. I owe you one wish. Speak your heart's desire, and I shall make it yours." Jasper's lips quivered. He didn't speak. He ran. Down the hall, through the rain, into the courtyard, where Camilla trained with a makeshift spear. "Camilla, you have to come see this." She blinked. "Jasper, wait, is that smoke?" He grabbed her hand and dragged her upstairs. The Dow regarded her with curiosity, then amusement. "Ah, I see. A wish shared, perhaps." Jasper looked up at Camilla, then at the genie. "I want a long, happy life with her. A home, children. That's what I want." The Dow tilted his head, surprise flickering in his gem-like eyes. Then he laughed, a sound like mountains cracking. "Ah, so that's your heart's treasure. A noble wish for one so small. Homes are not easily given, but children I can provide." With a wave of his hand, 6 motes of light appeared before them. They shimmered, shifted, and solidified into hound-like creatures of celestial fur and molten eyes, each with small feathered wings and dexterous, hand-like paws. "They will guard you, guide you, and grow with you," the Dow said. "But beware, only one may walk beside you at a time. To call another, the first must rest." The largest of the hounds stepped forward, bowing its head. Its voice echoed softly, smooth and strange. "Hello, Jasper. I am Lyra Nyx." Another, blue-tinted with lightning eyes, approached Camilla. "And I," it said, "am Vega Nyx. I belong to the storm in your heart." Jasper stared, stunned. Camilla, for once, was speechless. The Dow's laughter rumbled again. "Your paths are bound now, children of earth and storm. Use these gifts well, and perhaps one day you shall find that home you seek." And with a final nod, the genie vanished, leaving behind only the rain. the rings on their fingers, and the sound of two hearts beating as one. That night, Camilla and Jasper sat under the cracked roof of the orphanage, staring into the dark. Lyra and Vega curled beside them, wings tucked under their fur like blankets of starlight. "Do you think he meant it?" Jasper whispered. "That we'll find a home?" Camilla didn't answer immediately. Her golden eyes reflected the dying firelight. Then, quietly, "If not, we'll make one." And somewhere beyond the clouds, thunder rumbled in agreement. The EmberBonded Volume 1, The Flames That Bind. Chapter 2, The Soldier and the Scout. Bridge, the Soldier and the Scout. Years passed like turning pages. When they left St. Marily's, no one stopped them. The gates of the orphanage creaked shut behind them, and that was that. No farewells, no blessings, only the road ahead and the promise they made to each other under a gray morning sky. Jasper Wispweaver carried nothing but a rucksack, a dagger, and the green ring that shimmered faintly against his finger. Camilla Stormscale carried everything else. Their hope, their courage, and a battered sword she'd claimed from the training yard. The hounds, Lyra and Vega, followed in their wake, padding silently through the mist like twin constellations bound to mortal flesh. Together, they walked into the dawn. In time, the world learned their names. Camilla Stormscale, the dragonborn warrior whose roar could break the lines of orcs and men alike. Jasper Wispweaver, the goblin warlock scout, whose green fire lit the battlefield with otherworldly precision. They fought for Neverwinter's Guard, patrolling the northern wilds where monsters prowled and roads vanished under the weight of war. Though soldiers by title, they were still what they had always been, two outcasts standing back to back against a world that did not love them, but needed them all the same. Part 1, The Soldier and the Scout. The ruins north of Neverwinter still whispered with the memory of war when the pair struck from the trees, lightning and shadow in perfect rhythm. Camilla moved first, her great sword crackling with the tempestuous aura of her Storm Herald bloodline. She cleaved through the first band of marauding orcs with a roar that shook the branches. Jasper was already gone from sight, vanished into the fog, his green skin blurring with shadow as whispers of spellcraft coiled around his hands. When he emerged, it was with a flick of emerald flame that burst from his fingertips, carving runes of burning sand into the ground beneath their enemies. From above, Vega, Camilla's celestial hound, swooped in, wings spread, her body glowing with a heat like molten bronze. She struck like a comet, scattering the orcs that survived Camilla's charge. "On your left," Jasper called, his small frame darting between fallen spears. "I see them," Camilla bellowed back, twisting to meet the blow of a berserker's axe. Sparks exploded from the impact. Vega lunged, jaws snapping like thunder. In less than a minute, the fight was over. Jasper leaned on his knees, catching his breath, while Vega's wings folded neatly behind her. Camilla wiped her blade on a fallen banner, glancing at the small goblin who had once been her shadow, now her equal. "Still think we should have joined the guard?" she asked with a faint smirk. Jasper shrugged, his eyes glinting with quiet mischief. "They pay in food, not respect. I'll take what I can get." Their success earned them notice, but not trust. Whispers followed them through the barracks. Dragon blood, goblin, unholy magic. Even after years of service, the labels clung to them like soot. Captain Varran, a scarred veteran with more sense than most, was the only one who treated them like soldiers. "You two get results," he said, handing them another map, another mission. "But politics runs thicker than blood in Neverwinter. Watch your backs." Jasper only smiled, tugging his gloves tighter. "Politics never saved a life on the battlefield." Camilla snorted. "But it sure knows how to end one." The captain didn't disagree. Still, the tension brewed like a coming storm, until the campaign in the Silver Marches changed everything. Part 2, The Dawn and the Ashes. Reister's Ford was supposed to be a strategic supply line, a small village by a river crossing, nestled between two silver-crowned hills. When Camilla and Jasper arrived, it was ruin. The air stank of smoke and iron. Corpses lined the shallow water like driftwood. Then they saw movement, not soldiers, but survivors. At the heart of the desolation knelt a woman in silver-gold armor. Her hands pressed over a wounded soldier as light poured from her fingertips. Her wings, faint, spectral, shimmered behind her shoulders, fading as the healing took its toll. "Hold fast," she murmured, voice trembling but resolute. "Lathander's light still reaches you." That was Sapientia Ravenna Lightwood, paladin of the Morning Lord, noble by birth, but bloodied by war. Beside her moved another, a human monk, calm even amid the chaos. Her motions were like sunlight glinting on water, each movement deliberate, measured. She was Malika of the Way of the Morning Sun, and where Sapientia healed, Malika protected. And nearby, silent but alert, watched a dark-haired youth with eyes that missed nothing. His hands moved in quiet signs, each motion precise and patient. Omari, a boy with no voice, yet a presence stronger than most commanders. Camilla slowed. "Paladins," she muttered. "Of course." Jasper squinted through the smoke. "They're surrounded." The gnolls struck again before either could speak further. A pack of snarling beasts breaking from the treeline, blades gleaming with gore. There was no plan. There was no time. Camilla roared, the sound rolling like thunder across the ruined ford. Jasper whispered a word of power, and Lyra appeared beside him in a flash of emerald flame. Lightning met sunlight. Eldritch fire met divine radiance. Sapientia's blade sang hymns of dawn as it clashed with gnollish steel. Camilla's strikes carried the wrath of the storm itself, her scales glinting as Vega descended in a streak of blue fire. Jasper's spells wove between them like living threads, each blast perfectly placed. Malika struck with radiant fists that left trails of golden light, while Omari covered their flanks, thou steady and silent. When dawn broke, the dead lay still, and 5 strangers stood together in the ashes. For the first time, the silence of war gave way to something gentler. That night, they gathered around a fire in the broken square. The air smelled of rain and ash, but the warmth between them was real. Sapientia spoke first. "The Morning Lord teaches that from ruin, renewal must rise. I see that truth here, in storm and flame." Camilla's laugh was low, tired. "Didn't take you for a poet." "I wasn't," Sapientia replied softly, "until today." Malika smiled faintly. "Balance takes many forms. Perhaps this one begins with friendship." Jasper poked at the fire with a stick, thoughtful. "Or survival. That's all I've ever known." Omari raised his hands, signing words illuminated by the firelight. "We are stronger together." And so, under the first peaceful stars since the war began, the 5 of them, soldier, scout, paladin, monk, and silent watchman, made a quiet pact. No oaths, no ceremony, just the promise that none of them would burn alone again. And from that promise, the EmberBonded were born, not by creed, but by shared firelight. Next, the EmberBonded Volume 1, The Flames That Bind. Chapter 3, Ash and Sky. Part 1, The Fire That Dreamed. The fire had been burning for days. Not the gentle kind that warmed hearths or kindled candles. This was the sort of flame that devoured the world and called it rebirth. In the heart of that inferno, a figure walked alone. Feathers like burnished copper caught the dying light as Pyraxis' inferno wings strode through the embers, barefoot, unburned. The wildfire whispered his name in the crackle of branches and the hiss of molten sap. To most, he looked Aarakocra, avian in form, wings mottled crimson and gold. But to those who looked closer, there was something wrong about him. Or perhaps something right, but too much so. His eyes were twin suns caught behind flesh, flickering with the restless pulse of rebirth. Every step left behind a trail of cooling ash, every breath a curl of smoke. He stopped at the edge of the charred forest and lifted his gaze to the horizon, where dawn glimmered faintly above the silver marches. A soft voice stirred in his thoughts, the ancient echo of his other half. "Ash to ash, fire to fire. You burn for both creation and ruin, my child." Pyraxis exhaled slowly. "I know." and yet you walk among mortals again." He smiled faintly, the expression fragile as a spark. "Because they burn too." Part 2. The River of Ghosts. The EmberBonded reached the river the next day, or what was left of it. Reister's Ford had become a graveyard. The fires from the battle still smoldered, and the wind carried the scent of smoke far beyond the banks. Sapientia led the way, armor scorched but polished anew. Malika followed, silent in her meditation. Camilla trudged beside Jasper, Vega at her flank, while Omari ranged ahead like a ghost among ruins. They were tired, battered, but alive. "Never thought peace could feel so heavy," Camilla muttered, dragging a hand through her sweat-damp hair. Jasper adjusted his pack and nodded toward the horizon. "Peace is just the space between storms. Don't blink. You'll miss it." Sapientia smiled at that, though it didn't reach her eyes. "Then let us pray it's a long blink." They set camp by the river, rebuilding what little they could of the survivors' tents. As the others rested, Jasper noticed something strange in the distance. A glimmer across the blackened forest. It wasn't sunlight. It was moving. "Camilla," he whispered, "you see that?" She followed his gaze and froze. "That's fire." Jasper frowned. "Then why's it walking?" Part 3. Phoenix and Flame. The figure emerged through the drifting smoke, wings spread wide and burning at the edges. The air shimmered with heat, but not the kind that consumed. It danced like life-given shape. Camilla stood, hand on her weapon. "Identify yourself." The stranger stopped at the edge of camp. His feathers dimmed, embers fading into faint warmth. "Peace," he said softly, his voice carrying the calm cadence of prayer. "I am not your enemy. Forgive our suspicion," Sapientia said, stepping forward. "We've had enough enemies to fill a lifetime." The avian figure inclined his head. "Then perhaps you could use one more friend." Malika studied him quietly, sensing the controlled rhythm of his breathing, disciplined but strained. "You walk with the balance of the flame," she said. "Are you Druid?" "I was," he replied. "Now I am something else." The campfire reflected in his eyes, and for a heartbeat, it seemed to flicker inside them. "I am Pyraxis Inferno Wing, of the Circle of Wildfire." Jasper tilted his head. "Never heard of that one." "That's because we rarely live long enough to spread the word," Pyraxis said with a faint smile. His gaze shifted to the horizon, where smoke curled into the morning air. "I came from the Emberfall Mountains. The wildfires have grown restless, unnatural. Something stirs beneath the stone. I followed the signs here." Camilla crossed her arms. "You came through that blaze in the forest?" "I was born in one," he said simply. A silence settled over the group, broken only by the gentle crackle of the fire. Sapientia met his eyes, and in them saw both destruction and renewal, the same paradox that burned in her god's light. "Then perhaps it was no accident our paths met," she murmured. Jasper chuckled softly. "Oh, it's never an accident. Not when genies, gods, and ghosts all have their hands in the same deck." Vega padded closer to Pyraxis, nose twitching. "He smells like the sky after lightning," she said. Lyra appeared beside Jasper, her voice lilting and curious. "And the earth after rain." Pyraxis blinked, startled. "They can speak." "They're family," Jasper said simply. "We all are, one way or another." Part 4. The Bond Ignites. That night, the EmberBonded gathered once more around the fire. 6 souls and 2 celestial hounds, their shadows cast long against the ruined stones. Sapientia spoke first. "If you seek the cause of the fires, you will need allies." "I seek understanding," Pyraxis replied, "but I'll accept company." Camilla leaned back, arms folded. "He's got wings. We could use someone who can scout without stepping in mud." Jasper smirked. "And someone else to keep you from punching captains." "Don't push your luck, Jasper." Malika's laughter was quiet, but genuine. Perhaps fate truly has a sense of humor. Omari signed from across the fire. "The circle is complete." Pyraxis looked at them. the scarred paladin, the serene monk, the storm-born warrior, the clever goblin, the silent watcher. He had seen flames devour entire forests, but never had he seen one burn so brightly without destroying. He extended a clawed hand, the firelight flickering along his talons. Then let it be so. Ember-bonded, you call yourselves. Camilla glanced at Jasper. Something like that. Then may our flames guide, not consume. Sapientia nodded, voice reverent. By dawn and dusk alike, we are kindled. Above them, the stars blinked awake one by one, distant fires mirroring their own. And for the first time in years, Pyraxis felt something new kindling in his chest. Not the hunger of the phoenix, nor the whisper of the Afridi, but belonging. Next chapter, The Shattered. The EmberBonded, Volume 1, The Flames That Bind. Chapter 4, Into the Mists. Part 1, The Whispering Road. The dawn came cold and colorless. Mist clung to the ground like old breath as the EmberBonded made their way along the forest road that wound north of Reister's Ford. It was supposed to lead toward the Silver Marches, toward reports of the spreading wildfire Pyraxis had seen in his visions. But the air that morning was wrong. No birdsong, no rustle of wind through leaves. Even the insects had gone silent, as if the forest itself held its breath. Camilla tightened her grip on her sword. I don't like this, she muttered. You don't like anything before breakfast, Jasper quipped, tugging his cloak tighter. His voice was steady, but his eyes darted around. Lyra walked beside him, fur bristling, wings half open. This is not natural fog, the hound murmured. Sapientia's gauntlet hand brushed the hilt of her blade. I sense no evil yet. Maybe it's shy, Malika said softly, though her tone carried unease. Her eyes were closed, attuned to the rhythm of her steps, the way a monk feels the pulse of the world. But there is something beneath this silence, a pulse far away, but strong. Omari gestured for them to stop. His keen eyes scanned the trees, then signed, We are being watched. The wind picked up, cold and damp, carrying the faintest echo of a laugh. It was not cruel, not mocking, just lonely. Then the fog thickened. Part 2, The Mists Rise. At first it seemed harmless, just mist swirling between the roots. But soon the road ahead vanished. Then the trees. Then even the sound of their boots on earth. The world faded to white. Stay close, Camilla barked, drawing her sword. Lightning sparked along the blade. Don't let the mist separate you. Jasper reached out instinctively. His hand found hers, small against her clawed gauntlet, and Lyra pressed close to his leg. Vega's glowing eyes flared like twin lanterns ahead of them. Pyraxis, Sapientia called. Can you burn it away? The druid spread his wings, fire wreathing his feathers. I can try. He whispered a word in the old druidic tongue, and flames surged outward, a ring of light piercing the mist. For a heartbeat, they saw the forest. Then, just as suddenly, the fire snuffed out. The mist swallowed it whole. Pyraxis staggered. That shouldn't be possible. This fog resists even divine sight, Sapientia murmured, as if it hides from the gods themselves. A low growl rumbled from Vega's throat. Something ancient moves within it. Yeah, Jasper muttered, and it's staring right at us. Then came the bells, distant, hollow, tolling from nowhere and everywhere at once. Each note vibrated in their bones, warping the air like ripples across still water. Malika's breath caught. Those are not bells of this world. Then where? Camilla began. She didn't finish. The ground vanished beneath them. Part 3, The Land Without Dawn. When the mists receded, the EmberBonded stood on a dirt road that was not their own. The air smelled of damp earth and decay. Above them, the sky was an endless gray. No sun, no warmth, just light enough to know it wasn't night. Behind them, the road ended in swirling fog. Ahead, it curved into a valley shrouded by towering black pines. Somewhere in the distance, the same hollow bells tolled again. Everyone in one piece? Camilla asked. Define peace, Jasper muttered, brushing soot off his jacket. Lyra sniffed the air, then looked up at him, eyes wide. Jasper, I can't feel the stars. He froze. What do you mean you can't feel them? They're gone. Vega's wings rustled uneasily. Not gone, hidden. Something here smothers the light. Sapientia knelt, touching the dirt. The soil was cold, wrongly so. Even the divine warmth that usually answered her prayers felt distant. Lathander's light doesn't reach this place, she whispered. Pyraxis stood silently, gaze sweeping the horizon. The fire in the world's heart is faint here. This land is asleep. Malika stepped beside him. Or imprisoned. Omari pointed down the road. Through the mist, faint lights flickered. Lanterns. A village, perhaps, barely visible through the gloom. Shelter ahead, he signed. Camilla exhaled, rolling her shoulders. Right? We find whoever lives here, we find answers. Let's move. As they started down the road, the fog swirled behind them, closing like a curtain. The world they'd known was gone. Part 4. The Gate of Barovia. The road narrowed between tall iron gates, flanked by crumbling stone sentinels. Their visages were worn beyond recognition, eyes hollowed by centuries of rain. A raven perched atop one, cawing once before taking flight into the mist. Sapientia slowed, uneasy. I've read of gates like these in old temple records, symbols of border realms, places where the divine and profane blur. Camilla eyed the rusted iron. So, we're just walking in? Jasper tilted his head. Doesn't look like we've got a choice. As if in answer, the gates creaked open on their own. No wind moved. No hand touched them. The sound was deafening in the silence. The EmberBonded exchanged glances. Vega's fur bristled. Lyra growled softly. Omari's hand went to his blade, and Malika whispered a quiet prayer to the morning sun. Pyraxis spread his wings, sparks flaring along their edges. Whatever waits beyond, it called us for a reason. Then let's make sure it regrets it, Camilla said, stepping forward first. The others followed. As the gates closed behind them with a clang that echoed like a heartbeat, the mist swallowed the road. Somewhere far ahead, through the fog and the gray light, a single wolf howled. And in that lonely cry, the land of Barovia welcomed its newest souls.